When the morning rises and the world has not yet shaped itself around your fears or your plans, there is a sacred softness in the air, a tenderness that feels like God Himself is whispering your name before you take your first full breath. In this gentle hour, when the sun is still stretching its fingers across the horizon and the birds sing like angels rehearsing their hallelujahs, there is a holy invitation for your heart to speak, to settle, to surrender. It is the moment when the worries of yesterday have not yet risen to choke your peace, and the burdens you carried to bed have not yet remembered your shoulders. In this precious hour, God leans close and says, "Child, give me your worries, give me your fears, give me all the things that tried to break you, and I will give you a peace that does not tremble." So lift your voice, even if it quivers. Lift your prayer, even if it crawls from the hollow places of your soul. Lift your hope, even if it still feels like a fragile seed trying to push through the soil of your disappointments. God hears trembling prayers just as clearly as He hears bold ones, and when the morning comes, He bends low to gather every scattered piece you thought was lost. Breathe now. Breathe as if every inhale is a promise and every exhale is a release. Breathe as if the weight you carried in the quiet corners of the night is loosening its grip with every beat of your heart. You did not wake up by accident. You were carried into this morning on the strength of a God who watched over you when you were unaware, who guarded your rest when you were too tired to speak, who kept your heart steady when fear tried to pull you under. There is purpose in your pulse today. There is intention stitched into the very fabric of this sunrise. And even if yesterday tried to convince you that you were forgotten, today God says, "I have remembered you." So come as you are, worn, hopeful, aching, praying, because God does not ask for perfection in prayer, He asks for presence. Tell Him what scares you. Tell Him what weighs your chest down before you even rise from your bed. Tell Him the secrets that sit heavy in the corners of your soul. Tell Him the names of the people who hurt you, and the memories that still sting when you close your eyes. Tell Him about the storms that brood quietly in your thoughts and the tears you never let fall. Tell Him the truth, your truth, because He is not offended by your weakness, nor shocked by your fear, nor disappointed by your trembling. He knows the landscape of your heart better than you know your own reflection. He knows where your trust has grown thin and where your faith has been bruised by life's blows. And yet, He still says, "Come to me." There is no morning so dark that His light cannot reach you. There is no burden so heavy that His hands cannot lift it. There is no fear so deep that His love cannot drown it in peace. Speak to Him now. Pour your worries out like water. Empty the wells of your sorrow and confusion. Lay every weight at His feet, because He does not break under the pressure of your pain. And when you give Him your worries, do not reach back for them. Do not return to the very chains He broke for you. Do not resurrect old fears God has already buried beneath His promises. Let this morning be the day you choose peace over panic, faith over fear, surrender over control. Because God does not take your worries to admire them. He takes them to destroy them. He takes them to replace them. He takes them so your mind can breathe again, so your soul can unclench, so your heart can make room for the blessings He has been trying to send you. And when you let go, truly let go, the peace that comes is not a fragile peace, not a temporary peace, not a peace that disappears when the world raises its voice. No, this peace is ancient. This peace is fortified by heaven. This peace is older than every storm, stronger than every demon, steadier than every battle. It is a peace that guards you, that covers you, that becomes a shield around your thoughts and a calmness in your spirit. So pray like someone who believes that God can hear the words you cannot speak. Pray like someone who knows heaven leans in when your heart whispers. Pray like someone who understands that the moment you say, "God, I surrender," the angels begin working on your behalf. You are not praying into an empty sky. You are praying into the arms of a Father who has already made a way. Even when you cannot feel Him, He is closer than your own breath. Even when you do not see the evidence yet, the miracle is already moving toward you. God does not delay out of cruelty. He delays because He is aligning things you cannot see. He is preparing the path you will eventually walk. He is protecting you from things your heart is not strong enough to carry. And while you wait, He gives you peace so you do not crumble. There is peace meant for you this morning, Not borrowed peace, not artificial peace, not the peace you pretend to have when people ask you if you're okay. No, this peace is honest, it is whole, it is God-breathed, it is placed inside you like a quiet river that refuses to stop flowing. But peaceful mornings begin with surrendered hearts. So lift your soul now. Lift your trembling. Lift the broken places you never learned to name. Lift every moment that stole your courage. Lift every disappointment that gnawed at your faith. God is not fragile, and your honesty does not frighten him. He is not a distant deity watching you struggle from behind the clouds. He is the God who sits beside you in the dark, the God who holds your face when fear blinds your vision, the God who wraps his arms around your pain until it can breathe again. He is the God who loves you beyond your understanding and who chooses you over and over again, even on the days when you have trouble choosing yourself. Let this morning be the moment you choose to trust that love again. Trust that God has not abandoned you, that he has not forgotten the promises he whispered over your life. Trust that every storm you survived shaped you into someone stronger, someone wiser, someone who prays deeper. Trust that even the battles you did not choose were not wasted. God never wastes pain. He never wastes tears. He never wastes seasons of wilderness or nights of wrestling. Everything you walked through prepared you for what is coming next. And maybe you do not see it yet. Maybe all you see are closed doors, tired bones, and dreams that seem too heavy to carry. But God sees the future rising like a dawn you cannot yet imagine. And his peace is not only meant to comfort you. It is meant to prepare you, so pray boldly. Pray like someone who knows that heaven listens. Pray like someone who knows peace is not a gift reserved for the holy, but a promise given to the willing. Every morning, heaven waits for you to speak. Every sunrise carries the opportunity for you to be made new again. Every day comes with the chance to surrender, to breathe, and to begin again. And if yesterday was filled with storms, let today be filled with stillness. If yesterday was filled with fear, let today be filled with faith. If yesterday was filled with burdens, let today be the day you give them all away. God is not asking you to pretend you are strong, he is asking you to trust that he is. And when you say, God, take my worries, do not whisper it as if you doubt he will. Say it like someone who knows the one they're speaking to. Say it like someone who has seen mountains move, even if only in whispers. Say it like someone who believes that peace is not a myth, but a miracle stitched into God's very nature. And when you feel the calm rising, slowly at first like dawn creeping over distant hills, do not run from it. Do not question it. Do not wonder if you deserve it. Peace is not earned, it is given. Peace does not arrive because you performed well, it arrives because you surrendered fully. Keep praying. Keep opening your hands. Keep releasing the things that tried to break you. Keep telling God, here it is. The fear, the confusion, the memories, the voices, the weight, the expectations, the pressure, the insecurities, the shame, the hurt, the exhaustion. Take it all. And with every surrender, feel the peace settle deeper in your bones. Feel it soften the hard edges of your thoughts. Feel it loosen the clenched corners of your spirit. Feel it fill the empty places where worry once lived. You are not meant to wake up afraid. You are not meant to wake up carrying the world on your back. You are not meant to wake up with a mind full of storms. You are meant to rise in peace. You are meant to rise in strength. You are meant to rise in divine assurance that whatever this day holds, God holds you through it. There will be moments when your mind tries to wander back to old fears. When anxiety knocks at your inner door, demanding to be let in. When the shadows of yesterday try to stretch themselves into your morning light. And in those moments remind yourself, God has taken this from me. Peace is not the absence of trouble. It is the presence of God in the midst of it. And when you feel surrounded, when you feel shaken, breathe again. Pray again, surrender again. Every moment is a chance to reach for God's peace. And every time you reach, he meets you there. So stand now, even if your knees tremble, and declare with your whole being, God, take my worries and give me your peace. Declare it like someone who refuses to be owned by fear anymore. Declare it like someone who has decided that peace is their inheritance. Declare it like someone who has been through too much to keep carrying what God wants to carry for them. Declare it like someone who has finally learned that surrender is not weakness. It is strength wrapped in wisdom. And as this new day stretches before you, Walk with your head lifted. Walk with your spirit steady. Walk with the quiet, unshakable confidence of someone who knows heaven walks beside them. You are not stepping into this day alone. God goes with you. Peace goes with you. Strength goes with you, and every worry that once tried to cling to your spirit has already been handed over to the God who never fails. Walk gently. Walk boldly. Walk freely in the peace that has been given to you. And when the evening comes and you look back on this day, may you see evidence of God's fingerprints in every moment you chose to trust instead of fear, surrender instead of struggle, peace instead of panic. And may tomorrow find you waking again in that same sacred softness, whispering once more, God, take my worries and give me peace. And when the sun climbs higher and the day begins to stretch its voice across the hours, you may feel the familiar stirring of the world's noise rising around you, trying to tighten its grip on the peace you prayed for. But let your spirit stand firm, for the peace God gives in the morning is not fragile. It does not dissolve when the world wakes up. It does not fade when responsibilities return. It does not vanish at the first sign of stress. No, the peace God places within you is like a river that persists, like a flame that refuses to die even when winds blow hard against it. It is a peace that whispers louder than chaos and steadies you when everything else trembles. So as the day unfolds, carry that peace like a sacred garment woven with threads of grace, stitched with promises, crafted by the hands of the one who knows your deepest needs. There may be moments when your heart stumbles, moments when the old worries try to rise from the dust of yesterday and reclaim space they no longer have permission to occupy. Moments when your mind wanders back to familiar fears, because they have lived with you so long you almost mistook them for friends. But hear this truth deep in your bones. You are not returning to who you were. You are not slipping back into old patterns. You are not surrendering to the shadows again. You have given your worries to God, not politely, not partially, but fully. And when God takes something from you, He does not give it back broken. He replaces it with His fullness, His strength, His clarity, His calm. So when the echoes of anxiety knock at your thoughts, remind yourself that you no longer belong to the storm. You belong to the Savior who quiets the storm. Let your heart rise again in prayer, not because you are afraid, but because prayer is the breath of your soul, the lifeline that keeps you aligned with heaven's rhythm. Whisper if you must. Cry out if you need. Let the words flow as freely as the wind through the trees. God, steady my spirit. Keep me in your peace. Cover me as I walk through this day. Prayer does not always remove pressure, but it gives you a place to lean, a place to rest your mind when your thoughts grow heavy. And God, in His kindness, does not wait for you to be eloquent. He listens to the trembling more than the elegance, the sincerity more than the structure. He hears the silent prayers you think no one notices. He gathers the pieces of your hope and holds them firmly until you believe again. There is a tenderness in the way God walks with those who are honest. When you tell Him, I feel weak today, He does not turn away, He becomes your strength. When you say, I do not know what to do, He guides your steps gently. When you confess, I am afraid, He wraps His peace around you like a warm cloak, shielding you from the cold. There is no shame in needing His help. There is no weakness in leaning on His understanding instead of your own. Life was never meant to be carried alone, and God never expected you to be self-sufficient. He created you with a soul that thrives in communion, with Him, with peace, with faith that anchors you when winds grow wild. And as you step deeper into the day, do not rush past the moments where God tries to speak. Sometimes His voice arrives as stillness in your chest. Sometimes it comes as a soft thought that quiets your fear. Sometimes it is the sudden release of tension in your shoulders or the unexpected courage rising in your breath. Sometimes His peace settles like a warm hand over your worries, reminding you that you are not navigating life alone. These are not coincidences, they are God's whispers, His reassurance, His divine fingerprints on the smallest corners of your day. Do not overlook them. Do not dismiss them. Let them remind you that God is not just in the morning He blessed. He is in every hour that follows. And if at any moment you feel the weight of the world trying to reclaim the throne of your mind, pause. Return to that sacred breath. Return to the quiet rhythm of surrender. Say again, with the authority of someone who knows heaven hears them, God, take this too. There is no limit on what you can hand Him. There is no shame in how many times you must surrender. The miracle is not in never worrying. The miracle is in refusing to carry what you've already entrusted to God. Walk slowly through the hours. Let grace be your pace. You are not racing against time. You are walking with God. And the God who walks with you is patient, gentle, and never hurried. He opens doors at the precise moment they are meant to open. He closes others to protect you from roads not meant for your feet. He arranges encounters, opportunities, and moments of favor with a precision you may never fully understand. And all the while, His peace is the compass guiding your steps, the anchor holding your soul steady in the tide. There will be voices in the world that try to steal your calm. Voices of comparison, voices of doubt, voices of old wounds, voices of fear that speak louder when you are tired. But the voice of God speaks deeper. His peace is not loud, but it is strong. It is not dramatic, but it is unwavering. And if you listen closely, beneath the noise of everything that demands your attention, you will hear Him again saying, I am with you. I am carrying this. I am making a way. His peace becomes your shield. His presence becomes your strength. His faithfulness becomes the story your life is being written upon. And in the quiet corners of the day, when you pause long enough to feel the truth, you will sense it. God is calming things inside you that once felt uncontrollable. God is restoring places in you that once felt broken beyond repair. God is lifting weights from your spirit you did not even know were crushing you. God is giving you a peace that does not crumble when people disappoint you, or when plans shift, or when circumstances change without warning. This peace is internal armor. It protects the core of who you are, so the battles around you cannot destroy the battles within you. So keep praying, not because God needs to be reminded, but because you need to remember who holds your life. Keep surrendering, not because you are weak, but because you are wise enough to trust the one who sees beyond every moment. Keep leaning into peace, not because trouble will never come, but because peace gives you the strength to face it without losing yourself. And when evening finally arrives and the world begins to dim, when the sky softens into twilight and the day exhales its final breath, take a moment to look back with gratitude. Not because the day was perfect, not because everything went your way, but because you were held through every moment. You were calmed in every anxious thought. You were carried in every uncertainty. You were strengthened in every challenge. You walked through the hours not with fear, but with a peace that came straight from the heart of God. And as night draws near, rest with the certainty that the God who met you in the morning will watch over you in the dark. Rest knowing that the same peace that guarded you today will cradle you as you sleep. Rest in the truth that tomorrow will rise with new mercy, new strength, new peace, and the same faithful God who whispers to your soul, "Give me your worries, and I will give you my peace." And when dawn returns, as it always does, rise again with that same sacred whisper, that same holy offering, that same courageous surrender. Rise again and say, God, take my worries and give me your peace. And He will. Every day, every morning, every time your heart calls His name. And when the night settles fully and silence wraps itself around your weary bones, there is a divine hush that does not ask you to be strong, does not demand that you keep fighting, does not insist that you carry what you were never designed to hold. In that sacred stillness, when the world quiets and the shadows lean softly against the walls, God draws closer than ever, gathering the remnants of your courage, the pieces of your hope, the fragile edges of your strength. It is in this tender hour that He whispers again into the hidden places of your soul, release it, all of it, every fear, every memory, every trembling thought, place it in my hands, and sleep in the peace I promised you. For the same God who breathed peace into your morning breathes rest into your night. And the same God who held your heart through the day shelters it under the safety of His wings now. And even as sleep begins to tug at the corners of your consciousness, the mind may still wander, still replay old storms, still stir with anxieties that have lived inside you longer than some memories. But let this be the night you choose to surrender instead of wrestle. Let this be the night you decide that peace belongs to you not only when the sun is shining, but also when the night is deep and the unknown feels close. Peace is not a daytime blessing. Peace is a divine inheritance written into every hour of your existence. And when you choose to trust that truth, even the dark feels different, softer, safer, holy. God does not disappear when the lights dim. He becomes even more present, more protective, more attentive to the quiet cries of your soul. So breathe slowly and allow His presence to settle over you like the warmest blanket, a covering woven from promise and mercy. Let your chest rise without effort. Let your thoughts drift without struggle. Let your spirit loosen its grip on the worries that once clung to you tightly. You are not alone in this night. You are cradled by the God who never sleeps, who never forgets, who never withdraws His love. And as you whisper once more, God, take my worries, feel the divine assurance wrap around you. He already has. He is working even now, rearranging what you cannot see, protecting what you cannot control, preparing what you cannot yet imagine. But before sleep fully claims you, let the last thoughts of your day be thoughts of gratitude. Gratitude not for a perfect life, but for a present God. Gratitude not for the absence of struggle, but for the presence of strength. Gratitude not because every question was answered, but because you were held through every uncertainty. Gratitude because you made it through the day with a heart still beating, a spirit still reaching, a soul still standing. This gratitude is not forced. It is born from the simple truth that even when life shook you, it did not break you. Even when fear tried to rise, peace rose higher. Even when anxiety whispered, faith whispered louder. And when you wake again, whether after a full night's rest or after wrestling with thoughts that took longer to release, the mercy of God will greet you like sunlight on your face. For mercy does not run out in the night. Peace does not expire at dawn. Strength does not weaken when you are tired. No, God renews you with a love that refuses to let you give up, a faithfulness that thrives beyond your understanding. You rise not because you are strong, but because God lifts you. You rise not because you have all the answers, but because God has all the authority. You rise not because you did everything right, but because God's grace is greater than every misstep, every doubt, every fear. And as morning stretches itself over your room once more, let your first breath be a continuation of last night's surrender. Let your first thought be a quiet offering. God, take my worries and give me peace. You do not need to start the day in a hurry. You do not need to climb out of bed with the weight of the world pressing against your chest. You do not need to convince yourself that you can do it all alone. God is already in your morning. God is already in your steps. God is already in the unfolding moments of your day, turning what could overwhelm you into what will strengthen you. Do not underestimate the power of beginning again. Every sunrise is a second chance. Every new day is a quiet reminder that God is not finished with you, that peace is not a temporary experience but a continual gift, that the worries you gave Him yesterday do not need to return today. You are allowed to release them again. You are allowed to start fresh again. You are allowed to walk lighter today than you did yesterday. Life is not measured by how perfectly you carry your responsibilities, but by how deeply you trust the one who carries you. And as you step once more into the rhythm of the day, let peace walk with you, not behind you as a memory, not ahead of you as a possibility, but beside you as a companion. When challenges arise, feel the peace settle your breath. When unexpected moments try to disrupt your spirit, feel the peace steady your heartbeat. When thoughts try to spiral into old patterns, feel the peace lift your mind like a gentle hand guiding you back to trust. You are not battling alone, not even in your thoughts. Peace is more than a feeling, it is a divine force, a heavenly guard assigned to your soul. And throughout the day, when you pause long enough to feel the quiet beating of your heart, remember that every beat is a testimony of survival, a testimony of mercy, a testimony of divine presence wrapped around your life. You are still here, not by coincidence, not by luck, but by purpose. There is something God is shaping in you, something God is preparing for you. Something God is strengthening within you through every moment of surrender. And peace is not just the outcome. It is the process, the companion, the foundation for everything God is calling you to become. You may not see the full picture now. You may still be walking through unanswered prayers or waiting on breakthroughs that feel long overdue. But peace does not depend on clarity. Peace depends on trust. Peace grows not from what you understand, but from who you lean on. And when you lean fully into God, you will find a calmness that the world cannot offer, a stillness that fear cannot steal, a confidence that circumstance cannot shake. This is the gift God gives to those who choose to surrender their worries morning after morning, night after night. So let your day be shaped not by pressure, but by peace. Let your steps be steady not because the path is easy, but because the one who guides you is faithful. Let your heart be calm not because life is predictable, but because God is constant. And when evening returns and the light fades once more, may you find rest in the truth that today held you, today taught you, today strengthened you. Not by your own doing, but by the peace that never left your side. And as you lie down once again you will whisper the same sacred words, not out of desperation but out of trust, out of assurance, out of holy expectation. God, take my worries and give me peace, and He will. Again and again, every morning, every evening, every hour your heart calls His name. For peace is not just what God gives, it is what He is. And when you surrender your worries to Him, you receive not only His peace, but His presence, His strength, His love, His hand guiding your life gently into the promise of something greater than fear ever allowed you to imagine. And when the sun rises on yet another day, and you find yourself standing between who you were yesterday and who you are becoming now, let your spirit breathe deeply in the truth that God is still shaping you, still holding you, still lifting the burdens you keep surrendering into His hands. There is a gentleness in the way He continues your story, even when you feel worn, even when your hope feels thin, even when you whisper your morning prayer with trembling lips instead of bold confidence. He hears you all the same. He receives every word, every sigh, every silent plea. And He moves with compassion, not judgment, guiding your heart into calmer waters. As the world begins to stir again and responsibilities call your name, you may feel a familiar pull toward rushing, toward proving, toward striving, toward worrying about things that have not yet happened and may never come to pass. But let this be the day you resist that pull. Let this be the morning you remind your soul that peace is not found in controlling everything. It is found in trusting the one who controls the winds, the seasons, the very breath in your lungs. You do not need to predict the future. You do not need to micromanage every outcome. You do not need to hold everything together with the frail strength of your own hands. God is already in what's ahead. God is already in the unknown. God is already making a way through places that look impossible from where you stand. So walk slowly. Walk with grace. Walk with the quiet assurance that you are not navigating life by yourself. And when worry tries to settle on your shoulders like an old, unwelcome weight, lift your eyes and remind your fear that it no longer has authority over your steps. God has taken your worries, not borrowed them, not shared them, but taken them fully. And in exchange He has given you the kind of peace that stretches far beyond understanding. A peace that makes no sense to those who expect you to crumble. A peace that stands tall even when circumstances shake. A peace that whispers courage, even when you feel small. And as you move through the hours, let love guide your actions. Let kindness soften your words. Let patience steady your decisions. Not because you are trying to be perfect, but because peace naturally overflows into how you treat others when it has taken root inside you. You cannot pour worry and pour love at the same time. You cannot cling to fear and extend grace in the same breath. So choose peace in every moment you can. Choose it in conversations. Choose it in conflicts. Choose it in the unexpected pauses and the unwelcome interruptions. Peace is not passive. It is powerful, shaping the way you show up in the world. There may be moments when doubt tries to rise again, sneaking into your thoughts like a whisper from an old life you have already outgrown. It may try to convince you that peace is temporary, that joy is fragile, that hope can be taken from you at any moment. But doubt is a liar, and you no longer belong to its voice. You belong to the voice that calls you beloved, the voice that calls you chosen, the voice that calls you capable of walking through this life with a spirit anchored in something eternal. When doubt comes, let your faith rise like a shield. Let your prayer rise like a flame. Let your trust rise like the sun refusing to stay hidden behind the night. And when midday comes with its noise and its demands, when the world becomes loud and your mind grows crowded, take a moment, just one holy moment, to pause. Close your eyes, breathe slower, whisper softly, God, take what is trying to unsettle me. Feel the peace rush back in like fresh air through an open window. Feel your shoulders drop, your spirit steady, your heartbeat slow its anxious rhythm. You were never meant to carry the day without the one who created it. And as the afternoon drifts into evening, and the sky begins to paint itself in colors that look like heaven brushing close to earth, reflect on the truth that every step you took today was strengthened by grace, guided by peace, held by God's invisible hand. You are not who you were yesterday. You are growing stronger, more grounded, more surrendered, more aligned with the peace that God has been pouring into you morning after morning. Every moment of trust has changed you. Every prayer has shaped you. Every surrender has freed you. And when night comes again, soft, quiet, gentle, return to the same sacred posture of release. Whisper to your own soul, I made it through another day not by my strength, but by God's peace. Let that peace cradle you once more, not as a visitor, but as a promise. A promise that tomorrow will come with new light, new mercy, new protection, new beginnings. A promise that your worries will never outweigh God's presence. A promise that every time you say, take my worries, God answers with, I already have. A promise that peace will remain your portion, your companion, your covering, your inheritance for every day and every breath that follows.